You've built your scene, programmed your DMX lighting, set your camera cuts. Now you want to render it and actually share it. Let's break it down into simple steps so you can start making epic content. Welcome to my dream sequence entry for the Pwnisher Community Challenge. I'm using this scene to show you how to record DMX into Sequencer, place that recording into your existing sequence, and render out a video. I've already set up the connection between the .2 software and Unreal Engine. If you landed on this video and have no idea what's going on, but you're interested in DMX-controlled lighting in Unreal, make sure to check out my Unreal DMX tutorial series. The lights are all functioning, including my custom sci-fi fixtures you can see in the background. Things of beauty they are. Let me lay everything out on screen so you can get a better look. On the .2 software, the first fader holds my static look, basic positions and colors. The second fader handles flashes and pulses on the beat of the music. These include the light bulbs on the eye, the lights under the stage, and the bounce lighting coming from the front. The last fader runs a chase that moves between different states in the song. These change automatically every second, so I only need to sync the first beat. After that, everything stays locked to the music at 120 BPM, and the final render is exactly 4 seconds. Pretty cool if I say so myself. I'll reset everything to get ready for recording. Before we start recording, make sure the movie render queue and the take recorder plugins are enabled. Once enabled and your project has restarted, head to Windows, Cinematics, Take Recorder. Use the slate to give the recorder a clear name. I'll call mine DMX_rec_retake. Double check your frame rate and match it to your sequencer. It defaults to 24, which is fine in most cases. The challenge requires an FPS of 30, so I'll match it now to avoid headaches later. Next, we need to add the sources we want to record. In our case, the DMX library is driving the scene. I have 2 active libraries, so I'll add 2 empty sources. Now, I assign them to the correct libraries. My first one is the Quick DMX library. Make sure to click Add all fixture patches so every active DMX light in the library gets recorded. I'll do the same for my second library, DS3. Before recording, I'll line up the audio track so everything's ready. With everything on standby, hit record. I'll give it a couple seconds for it to start rolling, and then I'll hit play on the track. I'll quickly Alt-Tab to .2 and run the lights the way I want. Take Recorder captures everything I'm doing, similar to timecode recording in a traditional workflow. After lining it up with the beats, I'll let it run for a while. And when you're done, hit stop in the Take Recorder. Now, I want to double check the recording and disable input from the lighting desk. A quick way to do this: go to the DMX tab and disable Receive DMX. This ignores all external DMX sources. To find where Unreal stored the take, click the folder with the eye. This opens the recorder in Sequencer. Then click the folder with a magnifying glass and the content browser will jump to the file location. I like to make a copy and work from that. I'll copy mine to my previous recording folder, but in your project, put it wherever it makes the most sense. You can now close Take Recorder. Here's how I use this file. I've opened a sequencer that has already got animation, cameras, and audio set up. If you don't already have a sequence set up, you can follow along like this. Click the clapperboard icon at the top and choose Add Level Sequence. Save it somewhere appropriate in your project. I'll call mine demo_ls and save it in the root for now. Then click the camera button to add a camera. You can now pilot the camera around your scene and frame your shot. Quick tip: if Unreal icons or light gizmos are on the way, press G on your keyboard to enter game mode and hide them. Press G again to bring them back. Once you're happy with your framing, click the blue camera icon to stop piloting. This locks the camera in place so we don't accidentally move it. From here you can follow the main steps I show in my main sequence. To add the DMX take, add a subsequence track. drop your take recorder file into it. Now, I'll align the DMX track with the music. To keep this video focused, I didn't dive into camera animation and sequence building. If you'd like a deep dive on that, let me know in the comments. You can scrub using the timeline or press spacebar to preview. That's looking good. But how do we go about exporting it? I'm using Unreal 5.6 in this project. They added a really nice option to export video directly using H.264. In the sequencer, click on the clapperboard icon. Then click here to adjust your render settings. I'm going to remove everything except output to show the quickest clean setup. Click Settings, scroll down to Export and select H.264 MP4. If you're using a version of Unreal before 5.6, you won't see this option. In that case, use Apple ProRes instead. And set the encoder to 422. That gives you a very good balance between file size and quality. If ProRes isn't available, go to Edit, Plugins, search for Apple, and enable Apple ProRes Media. Since I'm on 5.6, I'll switch back to H.264 and disable ProRes. Next, we choose the rendering method. Go back to Settings and under Rendering, add Deferred Rendering. Now, for video quality. Back in Settings, add Anti-Aliasing. Enable Override Anti-Aliasing. And set the temporal sample count to 15. This does increase render time slightly, but the quality improvement is absolutely worth it. If you want a deep technical breakdown of these settings, William Voucher has an excellent video on the topic. One last thing to add. Under Rendering, add Game Overrides. You don't need to change anything inside it. This simply forces Unreal to use cinematic quality settings during the render. Finally, under Output, choose where your video will be exported. Once everything is ready, hit Accept, then Render Local. Unreal will compile shaders and begin the render. When it's finished, navigate to your output folder and enjoy your final video. Making your first proper Unreal render is a big milestone. If you've been following the Unreal DMX tutorial series, this gives you a perfect project to practice with. Go out, imagine, create, and see if it goes boom.